Hello, Hassan from Reviews here for a special video and the last of 2023. Yep, the last. Nothing else after this. I'll see after this review. I'll be. You have to wait till next in a couple of days for 2024. And this is an interesting video because I'm technically reviewing two things, and it seems weird I'm doing this, but I consider these two very much linked together. I mean, they're in majority of theaters. Both these are being featured. Well, not in the theater I went to see the film, but it's important. I feel like it's important I talk about both of them in the same video. So let's get on with it. We have Disney's P two releases to celebrate their 100th year anniversary: their feature film Wish and their short film Once Upon a Studio. Let's start off with Wish because this is the main thing to talk about. Now, when they announced this film for this year, for their 100th anniversary, I saw the title and I thought, okay, maybe there's some potential with this. And, maybe this could be and it sounded like they're going to find ways to tie in the previous feature Disney films. And I was okay, that sounds interesting. But even when I saw the trailers, I thought, okay, as promise, even though I wasn't, there was something that definitely didn't feel right, and I'll explain to that later. But when it came out, oh boy, it's fair to say this year has not been a good year for Disney. And yeah, this film pretty much anticipates it. I mean, what could have been their greatest accomplishment ended up being one of their biggest failures, both critically and it sounds like a bit commercially. And I was hoping, and it seems like every internet critic who has gone in to watch this is hoping to be the one to say it's not actually as bad as people say. But yeah, this is a forgettable film, a really bad film, and I wouldn't say bad, but forgettably bad. It's it's complicated, but yeah, we'll get on with it. What is the premise? The film is set in the Kingdom of Rosa, where a magical sorcerer played by Chris Pine is the king of the realm because he has unbelievable powers, including the most important one to grant people's wishes, which he collects and at random points throughout each year he will randomly grant one of those wishes. And on her 18th birthday, our main character Asha, played by Ariana DeBose, is determined to hope that is determined to become the sorcerer's apprentice. Yeah, there's one of them. Yeah, you know what that means, and well, considering Disney and everything, in hopes that by becoming his apprentice, uh, he'll be able to grant her grandfather's wish. Considering today is also her grandfather's 100th birthday. When she meets the sorcerer, she begins to he claims he cannot grant the wish because it could lead to dire consequences. And despite her interjecting, saying it could work, he suddenly snaps at her and becomes an egotistical villain. Asha consults with the star, wishes on a star for her to be able to grant her grandfather's wish, and out of nowhere, a creature from the stars, named the Star, comes out with magical powers and threat. And because of that star's power, the sorcerer feels threatened and is determined to capture the star to maintain his control over over the land. Okay, well, let's just. I will talk about some of the good things in it, and yeah, there are some. I think the best thing in it is actually the voice acting. I think every one of these voice actors, you can tell, are having a fun time. Especially in particular, Chris Pine as the villain, as the sorcerer. I thought he was for some reason, even though I didn't really think much of any of the characters, their voice actors all do a really good job. With this sole exception of Alan Tudyk, who I'm not going to lie, I didn't really like in this. I forget. I don't know. It's fair to say he's sort of seen as Disney's good luck charm in their modern era, but I don't know. This one, they could have probably gone for a different actor, in my view, for his character as the voice of the talking goat. Just saying. And I like that they're not going for a sympathetic villain, even though it is sort of hinted it could be at the beginning when the sorcerer goes into his backstory, but they never go for that. They sort of go. It sort of feels like this guy is trying to be like Jack Horner from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, but and Pine's performance definitely helps come close, but I don't know. The sorcerer's not written well and not written to be extremely funny, and it just doesn't feel right. I really wanted a non-sympathetic twist villain in a Disney film, but I don't know. They just didn't write it right. Uh, And I will admit, the Wish song that you hear in the trailers is good once you've heard it once, and yeah, it's fine. But but as you can see, every time I've mentioned one of the things I like, I seem to have a problem with it, and that's the thing. Every good thing I've got in it, there's always a negative aspect to it, and everything else I can think about it is just negative thoughts around it, and it's so unfortunate. I think the story has potential, but it's just not written well. And every time they introduce a brand new concept in it that you think could be delved into more, they just don't go along with it. It's so strange. Like I would have liked more of an explanation as to why the sorcerer did not want to grant the grandfather's wish, because when it actually does eventuate, I just don't see why he was so worried about it. So, like I don't know. Nothing felt right about this. Um, there's a ton of Disney references in this. I've already mentioned the Sorcerer's Apprentice thing, but you see, there's references to Peter Pan, Snow White. There's seven Usher's best friends, all clearly architectures of the Seven Dwarfs. There's a bit of a reference to the Jungle Book with in this "You Are a Star" song. The backgrounds almost look identical to Sleeping Beauty. There's a Peter Pan reference in it, but it just feels like they just didn't know how to write it right, include them well. Like I didn't mind all the references in the Super Mario Bros. Movie. This is just there's just no reason as to why. I think part of the reason is because one is that I feel like this film should have had was meant to have actual previous Disney characters in it, and outside of one possible reference that you could see Peter Pan, I don't know because it's debatable. I just don't. It just doesn't feel right having all these references in it when you're not seeing them in the world. Well, is what I'm trying to say. Like the Super Mario Bros. Movie worked with the references is because they had the actual characters. They were in the world. It made sense. Even the Nintendo references, Brooklyn. It made sense because we was watching Mario and Luigi. This it doesn't because you don't have those characters actually in this world. So yeah, that's the biggest issue with it. And when you get to the end credits, they show starry um, incarnations of these of past Disney characters from every film they've made. Well, okay, not everyone. Not the Rescuers don't appear in it. They don't show any character from Meet the Robinsons. They don't. They only do Ichabod and Mr. Toad from the package films. So, and the Black Cauldron, it doesn't show up. I mean, which I find is strange because they're referencing Chicken Little in that and Home on the Range, two of their worst ever films. Even Dinosaur gets referenced in the credits, but they don't show Black Cauldron or the Rescuers. Why? For other facts, some characters I don't understand why they picked them as the incarnations. Like, trying to think. Oh, the villain from Big Hero 6. Why was he the star incarnation of that film? Or I mean, I like Yzma from The Emperor's New Groove, but I would have thought it'd be Emperor Cusco. Trying to think of who else there is. Oh yeah. No, no. Actually, I think what they did with Little Mermaid worked honestly, and I forget what they did with I forget what they did with let me think. What was I thinking? Oh yeah, I forget what they did with the Jungle Book. I think I blinked at that moment. And 101 Dalmatians. I think Pongo would I like. I don't mind, but if you're going to include Perdita and at least the original 15 Dalmatians, I would have thought that. Or you go Corella. Just saying, but yeah. With that said, but that's that. The characters are all forgettable. The animation. It's clear to see that Disney's emulating the success that we've seen of 2D CG hybrids, with the likes of Spider-Verse and Bad Guys and Last Wish and Mutant Mayhem. And but to be fair, it just doesn't feel right with this. This animation doesn't feel right for this film. In my view, this film would have worked a lot better if it was just 2D traditionally animated. I don't get why they had to go this route. I think it would have looked great if I think this film would have been a better experience if it was 2D. I just feel that way, and I think a lot of people do. And then there's the songs. I can see where they're coming from with this, and I want to like a few of these songs. Like the opening song, "Welcome to Rosa," I can actually see as a really good song, but the lyrics are pretty forgettable, and you forget them pretty quickly. Um, the villain song, "This is the thanks I get," I can see how in some pre could I could see working like say some the songs in The Greatest Showman could work, but I just don't see it working. Or in my view, it could come close to being as iconic as Shiny from Moana, but it just doesn't come again doesn't come close. And I think the other one was the duet between Usher and the sorcerer and Magnifico the sorcerer. That was a good song, but again, I think it doesn't work because they pretty much as soon as that's finished, we see it pretty much shows that the sorcerer is the bad guy. Yeah, it, it's just these songs either fail because of their lyrics or where they're placed in the story. I don't get it. It's it's unfortunate. I really this is I know it sounds like I'm just saying what everyone else is saying about this, but the thing is, they're all right, and I can't really add anything more to it. It's just, it is a major disappointment, and I can't say anything different that I can like a that's different from anyone else. I didn't like it. It was it's a 3.9 out of 10 hand stars in my view. But what I can say is now we move on to the second part of this, which is of course Once Upon a Studio. Now, I thought this was going to get played in the cinema in the theater I went to see this, but it didn't. Not sure why, but I don't know. Maybe there's probably some reason why they didn't do it in Australia or where I was, but um, it's just the way things are, I guess. But let's just get. But with that said, so I watched this after I watched Wish at home, and I'm going to say this. I th- okay, I will say that I will say this. I like this. I thought Once Upon a Studio was great, but I think I like it even more because I saw Wish first, and I will explain it when. And I think the reason why is not just because Archer appears in the short, but I just feel like after seeing Wish and seeing how much of a failure it was, it showed me just how much more, how much of a masterpiece Once Upon a Studio. It's strange, like it, I can't really say anymore. And the short is very simple. I mean, it's basically Mickey. Mickey, Minnie, and all the other Disney characters coming out from their from the picture frames they're in the Walt Disney and the Roy Disney Animation Studios um, well, they come out of the paint all out of their pictures all to take a group photo to celebrate Disney's 100th anniversary. And that's all you really need. And it's, man, it's so fun just to see these characters actually walk around and interact with others. And they're all from different eras. We each get one character from pretty much each film appearing in it before we get to the group photo. And it's so fascinating just to hear these characters, and a lot of them are all played by their original actors, and even for the characters they have who passed away before this was even made, we hear archival footage of them, and it feels right. Not everyone. There are some who they couldn't get, so they couldn't get back for because of I think some scheduling reasons, so they had to you know get extra. They had to use whatever they had. Like Billy Joel didn't return as Dodger for his brief appearance, and Bob Newhart, I'm pretty sure he's still alive, didn't return as Bernard. Chris Sanders didn't return as Stitch too, unfortunately. But with that said, pretty much everyone that they did get, it's just so fascinating to see all these characters in it. Um, there are, I mean, and the fact that it opens up with the Bernie Madison, who passed away early this year in February, uh, walk out of the studio before we see these characters come in is the perfect way. He became the longest serving longest serving worker at Disney just before this war, just before he died. And having him start everything off, started off was a great touch, and it was the right thing to do. And the characters that we see interact with others all are perfectly decided. Like the sloth from Zootopia, slowly walking to the um to the elevator where to get down for the photo, and Donald's being forced to wait and getting really annoyed at how long it's taking. It was the best idea. I like the scene we get of the genie and the lost archival footage we got of Robin Williams as him is fantastic. Um, Ursula with Splat from Strange World. That was a surprise I didn't really think I needed, but it worked. Honestly, I like I like Quasimodo being when the when the when they're setting up for the photo, he's at the top of the by the by the letters, sort of symbolizing where he was what where he was in Notre Dame. That fits well. You got I like the Dalmatians getting scared off by Chernobog from Fantasia. That's again fantastic choice. I think there are a few that just and of course you've got Mickey, appearing speaking to the photo of Walt Disney himself, and that's a great great shot. But I will admit there are a few that just I don't know, they're fine, but I didn't really uh I thought they could have been a little bit better. Like we see Winnie the Pooh at the end when they're singing "When You Wish Upon a Star." He gets tackled by Tigger, but as you know, Jim Cummings plays both Pooh and Tigger. Tigger doesn't speak, and I feel like I would have liked Tigger to actually say a few lines here. To be honest, I would have liked a few more. I think also I would have liked a bit more of Goofy. Honestly, I just feel like I would have then just doing the photo. Um, there is oh yeah, the fact that we see characters from the live action anime characters from some of the live action films like Mary Poppins, The Reluctant Dragon, Bedknobs and Broomsticks, and Pete's Dragon, all in it. Makes me wish they have included some of the other ones. Like I would have liked to see Roger Rabbit show up. Would have liked Jack Skellington or James from James a giant picture being to represent some of the stop motion films they did. I would have liked a few, I guess, a few more of the villains. I wouldn't say their TV stuff. I mean, even though you do see Scrooge and all, and that, but I would maybe would have been good. I don't know. You've got you don't need to include Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars. I think they learned their lesson from the criticism they got from the Oh My Disney stuff from Ralph Breaks the Internet. This is just Disney. You don't need to do anything like that. I think, and then there's a couple of maybe they could have included Song of the South. I don't know. Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch considering, especially after. I mean, we already know how much Disney distanced themselves from doing anything like that. But I mean, in the past, they had no issues showing Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, and Brer Bear show up in stuff like House of Mouse and Lion King 1.5. And but then again, with considering how much more they've distanced themselves from after after the whole after Black Lives Matter and everything in 2020, I guess it's a bit too much of a stretch. But I'm pretty sure the Crows from Dumbo actually made a cameo in this. So I'm just saying, I just think they did. And if you know, the actor who played Uncle Remus in Song of the South was also the voice of the lead crow in Dumbo. Um, Also, I feel like, and you also get to see characters you didn't really think could appear anymore in this stuff, like Tarzan. Obviously, Disney doesn't own the rights to Tarzan. It lost the rights to Tarzan after they expired in the 2000s, which is why Tarzan never shows up in any of more of the Kingdom Hearts games past one. But it was great actually seeing him in it, even though he doesn't speak. I think I would have also liked to hear Pumbaa speak personally, and you know, it just feels like you could do more with it, but in a way, what they did was enough. And having everyone sing at the end when you wish upon a star, even though you don't see them all, it's nice. It really is. Perfect. It's just what you want expected from this. And even in person, my favorite thing, they included Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. I know Disney owns the rights to Oswald, but they rarely do anything like that with him because if you may remember, they didn't include him in Kingdom Hearts 3, even though Tetsuya Nomura wanted to. So the fact that Oswald actually shows up for the photo is nice, and the fact that Mickey does give him some respect is nice too, considering the story of Epic Mickey. But yeah, Once Upon a Studio is fantastic, and you don't see every character, which would be nice, but I think I think it's just what it needed to be. It was what I think Wish should have been. This was the heart that I wanted from Wish. This is what I hoped for Wish. Like I reckon Wish could have been a lot better if they actually had have included those characters making cameos, especially when when you see the wishes themselves and how it ends. Like with as I said, they do star incarnations of all these past characters in the credits. Maybe considering how it ends with Asha, maybe it could have worked if Asha could have actually watched those characters in the other films. Just I don't know. It could have worked. This is perfect. I mean, yeah, there's some issues, but you can tell they put a lot of heart into it. I mean, especially since all the 2D characters are all traditionally animated, and the 3D characters are on rack. I mean, it would have been good if we have seen some other characters show up. Like as I said, I would have personally loved to see some that would have been cool to see some Nightmare Before Christmas characters show up and all that, and maybe some of the short film characters and TV shows. Yeah, it would have been nice, but Once Upon a Studio is the true celebration from Disney for their 100th anniversary. It's just absolutely perfect. And it's just and I think the moment you hear these characters at the end sing When You Wish Upon a Star as they get ready to take their picture, the group photo, it's fantastic. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give if I have to give a score for Once Upon a Studio, I will give it maybe a 8.9. So yeah, I loved it. And for that, that's the end of this video. And I will see all of you for reviews in 2024. Or there'll be a few, and there'll be some big, there'll be some features to look forward to in terms of the movies. Probably a few TV shows. It just really depends on what sort of what does come out next year, considering the writers and actors strike that happened towards the end of this year, and it took how long it took for you know that to get resolved and productions to be resumed. So only time will tell how much that's how much we will get next year. But in the meantime, Hassel from Masterpiece is out, and I'll see you in the new year. Ciao.